Hey everyone, this is Jill Hope, and this is episode 12 in our Women with Wealth weekly series. And today we're going to be talking about honoring your desires. But first, what is the Women with Wealth series? This is where we come together on a weekly basis and we talk about an idea that can have a huge impact on how money shows up for you and how your dreams and desires and goals show up for you that we tend to not really think about a lot, or we're not conscious of being with the idea and seeing how it's playing out in our lives. And I'm bringing these ideas up to you so that you can get conscious around them, you can think about them and how they apply to you so that you can create your dreams. So today, what we're talking about is this idea of honoring your desires. And if you saw my last video, I talked about this idea of how a lot of women especially, but it happens to everyone, where we can lose connection to our inner voice. And I talked about how that happens and all of that. So if you missed that, that's a really important video. Definitely go back and watch that one. That was episode 11. Today, though, I want to hone in a little bit more and talk about just part of how you've lost your voice, because there's our inner voice, but we have a lot of aspects to our voice, and we can lose parts of them without losing all of them. So today, I want to talk about the idea of your voice of desire. So similarly to what we talked about in the previous video about voices, how you lose connection to your voice of desire often happens when you are a child. So what happens is when you are born, you have no problem expressing what you want. You will cry when you're hungry, you cry when you want to take a nap, or when you want to get up, you'll cry if you need your diaper changed. When you feel a desire, you will let it be known. There's no shame, there's no making your desires smaller, there's no tiptoeing around what you want. You just let everybody know about it. But then something that happens is once you start to talk, you start to then share some of your desires. You share what you think, you share what you want, you share what you love. And over time, we start to get these messages that somehow some of the things we want aren't okay to want. You know, we might hear that that's irresponsible, or that you can't have that, that people like us don't have that, or that that's crazy talk, or, are you silly? Like, how do you think you'll ever do that? Or we could never have enough money to do that. And when we get these ideas in our heads as children, we don't have an ability to reject the idea. So that will go directly into your subconscious mind and it becomes a belief. And then you've got to adopt something, right? There's something that most of us are moving towards in life, whether it's a path that we were told we need to go down or whatnot. I mean, we've got to have a job, we've got to make money and create some kind of a life for ourselves. So what happens is as we get messaging that our desires are not okay, that we shouldn't want what we want, that maybe we should make them smaller, we should settle for less, you don't need that much. When we do that, we'll often take on the desires of the people who are guiding us. And we internalize them as if they are our desires. And then we will work towards someone else's desires. And we can do this for decades until many, many people get to this stage later in life where they'll say, wait a minute, who am I? What am I doing? I'm not fulfilled. I haven't done XYZ. Where's my life? What am I doing? And that always comes back down to not being connected to or honoring our own inner desires. Those desires that are of your heart and soul. So this is a really important point about taking on someone else's desire, because the truth is that our beliefs can skew our desires. Because if you adopt a belief that, well, people like us just can't have that, and that goes into your subconscious, like I said, well, when you are tapping into who you are and what you want, you will automatically either tone down a desire or edit out a desire or censor a desire or judge a desire based on that belief that people like us don't have that, for example. So what you want to realize is that for a lot of people, they think they know what they want, but their desires are actually being skewed by what they truly believe inside, whether that belief is true or not. So as you think about reconnecting to what you want, reconnecting to those heart and soul desires, you do want to ask yourself and kind of reflect on this idea of, is there anything in me, any reasons in me, any beliefs or ideas in me that make me think I can't have this? And that's actually a really good thing to write down. Look at what's in there. What are some of the reasons why you think you can't? Like I'm always looking at real estate. I love looking at real estate. And at some point we're gonna buy another place, but I don't know where yet. I don't exactly know what kind of place. But one of the things I know about myself is that when I see something that I want, when I feel it, I know it. If it's for me, I know it. And I came across this home and it was like so magical and so amazing. And I was so pulled to it. But it was like in a price range that, I have beliefs around that. I have beliefs around that number is just too enormous, that I have a hard time imagining, especially at my point in life, that I could ever create that amount of money to do that and all the other things that I want to do in my life. And so the truth is that none of that's real. Those are just beliefs that I have bought into. Okay. And I know that. So I'm able to move through those, but it was interesting to notice that they were coming up for me. There was judgment and there was some disbelievability about it or unbelievability about it. And but I know that part, the unbelievability of it, is the part that's not true. And the possibility of creating it, if it's a true heart and soul desire, that's the truth. That's the part that I want to be at. But I do have to look at those beliefs that would cause me to discount it, to put it to the side, and to not fully embrace the belief. Now, I want to talk about, in this next part, the honoring part, because this is all about honoring our desires. And it might help if I explain where desires come from. And I talk about this in a lot of programs. So if you've heard this before, that's okay, because I don't think we can hear this enough. I think we need to be reminded of this all the time. I know that I do. And it came to me where I really, really started to get it. It was an experience I had walking home after dropping my son off at school. And I was coming home and it was a beautiful day and I was just sort of with my thoughts and out in nature and I was feeling very peaceful. And out of the blue, I don't know what I was thinking about, but out of the blue, this idea just like dropped in that said to me, Jill, why would God give you the ability to desire? Because we all have the ability to desire. Why would God give you that ability to see something, to feel something, and to desire it if you couldn't have it? Why would that just doesn't seem right, does it? Why would we have that ability to tune into something we want and not be able to get it? That just seems incongruent. And when I really saw that and felt that, I thought God would never do that. That would be not perfection in a system that is perfect, right? So that's when I first kind of woke up to this. And then I learned that the word desire, if you look at the root of the word desire, it's of the Father, desire, of the Father. So not only are your desires, is it okay for you to have them? And is it possible for you to have them? Because otherwise, why would we have that ability to desire things? But your desires, the ones that you have, came directly to you from God. They are a precious gift from God. So if you're going to diss your desire, if you're going to judge your desire or censor it or make it smaller or put labels on it or ignore it altogether, you are basically taking a beautiful gift that God is handing you and you're saying, nope, that's not for me. And really, who are you or who am I or who are we to say no to that gift? And this is really, really important when it comes to building wealth and creating money. If you're pushing away a gift like your desire, what else are you pushing away in your life? If you can't receive that desire fully by claiming it and saying, yes, I will create this in my life. If you can't do that, if you're not doing that, you are blocking a channel. You are putting resistance in your path. You are closing off your ability to receive. And then people wonder, well, I'm not sure if I'm a very good receiver. Well, that's a really good place to look first. Am I receiving the desires that are coming to me? When I see something and I'm a huge yes, and you know what I'm talking about, like it comes from your heart. You don't think about it. You just feel it and know it. Like I said, when I am looking at certain properties, I feel it and I know it when I want something, when I see it and I'm just like, yes, that's the gift. And if you're blocking your receiving there, you are blocking your receiving in other places as well. Because the desire is often either the very first step to creating a bigger life that you want, or it is on your path to help you develop a skill or a quality that you need to develop to get you where you want to go. It doesn't just show up willy-nilly. Sometimes we have gotten messaging that our desires are frivolous. Maybe you've gotten something like that. They're not, your true heart and soul desires are not frivolous. They're showing up for a reason. And when they show up, and this is another really big important thing, a lot of us will say, well, I'm not going to go for that now. Well, that's a big mistake too, because one of the really interesting things about manifestation and desire is that you cannot connect with a desire and really feel it without the way for you to create that desire in your life also being there simultaneously. Because the awareness of the desire comes with the way. They're not two separate things. It's the desire and the way to have it is one whole. The whole desire with the way is being given to you. Now, does that mean we always consciously know the way? No. That's where our work comes in. But if you can't even say yes to the desire, you don't even need the way. You won't see the way. If you put a rule around the desire, like, well, until I see the way, I'm not claiming it. No. You want to honor when that desire comes up. Something really, really beautiful that a mentor told me, and I actually heard this recently, and gosh, it speaks to me at such a deep level, and it is really about what we're talking about today, is that true desire is God's proof to you, sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already. I'm going to say that again. True desire in your heart is God's proof to you, sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already. Like what I was saying, it's the gift. If you don't accept the gift, you don't get the gift. So when you resonate with something, when you're on a purposeful path, and I assume you are if you're listening to this, and you resonate with something as you're going about your day, whatever you're resonating with, that desire, that immediately when you feel it, it's yours. On some dimension, it is already yours. Are you going to honor that feeling, honor that precious gift, and say, yes, I don't know how, but I'm going to claim this as mine? Do you have the courage to do that? It's not how we've been taught. but it really is the way and it's really the path. And it's something that you want to practice. Start saying yes to your desires. Now, here's a little caveat, and this is really important to bring up because a lot of people get confused with this. If you have a desire, you're feeling it and you're like, yes, I want this, you want to make sure that it's pure. You want to make sure that the desire is pure because if you've relinquished your voice of desire, and that's all of what we're talking about here, that gift from God, that's your voice of desire. The gift of desire from God is your voice of desire. So if you've relinquished your voice of desire to the point where you disregard what you want, you make it wrong, you don't claim it, you judge it or whatever, you make it smaller, all of that is disconnecting from your voice of desire. And what we do, as I said, is we will replace it with the desires that we were told we should want, the desires that it's okay for us to want. And so if you do that and you're going for those things, you may get them, but when you get there, they will feel very empty. You will not feel fulfilled. That's the decades later waking up in middle age and saying, who am I and what's my life all about? So you want to make sure that if you're feeling a desire, it's not a false desire, but that it's truly your voice of desire. When you feel that you're connecting with your voice of desire and not someone else's voice of desire, is it your voice of desire? Do you really want that? Or were you just told that that would be good for you to want? Or are you wanting it to make someone else happy? We women do that a lot with our desires. We get ourselves into a place where we think we want something because we think it's going to make someone else happy. Those aren't the kind of desires that are the voice of your desire. Those aren't the kind of desires that come from God. Those are the desires that are given to you by other people. And that's not authentic. That is not your voice of desire. So follow your voice of desire. Honor your desires, your heart and soul desires, because that is what brings out the jewels and the gems in you. That is what will carry you along your path to the next place. That is where your growth is. Those big desires, there's usually some growth associated with them, right? So that's what's being called from you, is to really step into that next place of growth. If you want it, the way to have that in your life is there with the desire, but you've got to claim it. You've got to say yes to it and step into it. So I'm going to leave it there today with honoring your desires. I have a couple of announcements, very important. One is related to the future of these Women with Wealth episodes that we're doing, so hang tight for that. Here's the other thing that I want to share, is that one of the ways that I actually discovered that I was dishonoring my voice, because I didn't even realize it for a long time, for decades, that I was one of those people, where I was not connected to my voice, to many of my voices. And I'll talk about more of these as we go. However, one of the ways I discovered this was when I discovered my sacred money archetypes. Now, I've been talking about this a lot because it has such power to illuminate for you the patterns that you've been living that you maybe can't see. Yes, some of them you will be aware of and it will feel confirming, but others of them you may not be aware of, and it will likely connect dots that you never really put together before, that when put together, shine a big light on your path to wealth and creating that life that you want. So I want to encourage you to discover your sacred money archetypes. And to that end, I actually did a training on this last week, and the replay is now available. So you can easily go and do the short quiz. It takes like 8 to 10 minutes. Discover what your top archetypes are, and then watch the video I created to learn about your sacred money archetypes. So you can start connecting the dots and you can see where you might be judging yourself when you don't need to be, where you might have lost touch with certain parts of you and your voice and your truth, so that you can start putting that back together and feeling more whole within yourself. You're not broken, but there are probably things that you're not piecing together that are a part of you. And so discovering your sacred money archetypes can help you do that. So if you want to do that, you can go to ishinewealth.com/SMA workshop. ishinewealth.com/SMA workshop. Just put your name and email in there. I'll send you an email with the link to the quiz and the link to the video, and you can take a look at that. And that's only going to be up for a little while longer, so don't wait too long. Seize this opportunity to discover that about yourself, because that may help you too to see where you're disconnecting from your voice and from your desires and honoring them in a bigger, deeper, more fulfilling way. Okay. So again, that's ishinewealth.com/SMA workshop. Now, the other thing I want to share quickly is the future of these Women with Wealth videos that we're making. What I'm going to do in 2 weeks, so next week will still be the same. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be moving these calls to Facebook Live in my Highest Level Living Facebook group. So if you want the communication about that, if you want the link to where that Facebook group is, I'll put it down in the description. But if you want to get updated on when I'm going live, when I'm doing these, when the replays are up and all of that, then you'll want to get on that notification list. And to do that, you go to ishinewealth.com/women. ishinewealth.com/women. That gets you on the list for this series so that you're always aware of when we're doing them. And I typically share in advance what the topics are so you know if it's something you want to listen in on. And that will be happening in the Facebook group now. Now, if you're not a Facebook person, not to worry, I'll still be posting replays on YouTube, but I'm doing the live version of it in Facebook because that way I can be interacting with you in the chat and taking questions. I would like to be able to open this up for questions, but it's easier to do that in the Facebook Live format, I find. So we're going to do it that way, and I hope you come along for that ride. So remember, when it comes to your voice, the voice of desire, you want to really be clear that the desires you're feeling are from you. And when I say you, I mean from God. That they're the true heart and soul desires of you, and that they're not the voice of desire of someone else. So that's the first thing to consider. And then apart from that, if it's a true heart and soul desire, does the mere thought of it light you up? Do you feel energized in your body when you think about it? Does it expand you? Do you feel just more expanded energy when you think about it? Is there sort of a yes kind of opening up? Because that's a true heart and soul desire. Now, on the flip side, if it's a desire where you think, well, if I get this, I'll be more acceptable, or I'll be more worthy, or people might like me better, or people might appreciate me more. If that's underneath the motivation for a desire, that's dysfunctional. And if it's to make someone else happy, or if it's something that maybe you were always told you should want, and it's just in your head that you should want it, but you check in and you're like, I'm not sure this is what I want, then those are not your desires. Those are desires you want to let go, because you can spend a lot of your time and energy and even get burnt out working on stuff that really isn't your gift from God. So you want to stay focused on your gifts from God and then fully honor and claim them. So thanks for listening today. I hope that was helpful. I'm Jill Hope. And if you wouldn't mind sharing this with someone else that you know this could benefit, please do so. I greatly appreciate that. And let them know about these free resources that are available. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.